Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. And as promised in the daily financial news, I had a surprise guest at 9 a.m. Pacific. We actually have Jeremy coming all the way from Europe. Where are you at, Jeremy?
Yeah, so I'm in Stuttgart, Germany.
Stuttgart, Germany.
Yeah,
Very cool. Thank you for this. Why don't you do
absolutely.
me a favor and introduce my audience to who is Jeremy, what you're doing in real estate, and why don't we highlight the book that you're working on, and then we'll get into your journey.
Great, thank you. Yeah, so I work in Germany. My wife's German, so that's why I moved here. But I retired from the Marine Corps after 24 years, and then moved back to Washington State. But before that, we took about a 6-month hiatus and traveled around the U.S. with the travel trailer with the kids, and just enjoyed some time off. And then we settled down back in my hometown in Washington State, and near Bellingham, Washington. And then we bought a property there, 5 acres, and before we decided we were going to completely just settle down for good, my wife says, hey, I'd like to go back to Germany. She's German. I'd like to go back and visit and spend some time with the family. And so the only way to do that, because she's a green card holder, is if I had a job for the US government. Otherwise she'd lose her green card. So I applied and I got a job here in Germany, and then we moved back here. We've been back here for about 3 years, and it's been great. I love my job. It's, like you mentioned in your book, how when you like your job, it's hard to just quit and go into real estate full time. Well, that's the situation I'm in. I mean, that's one of the problems right now, is that it's not money keeping me from retiring. Yeah. It's that I love my job so much. And the area is great too. But yeah, so we moved back here, and the kids, I was married for 11 years, and then so I have 3 older children. I have 2 grandkids, and now I have 3 kids again. So I've got a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, and an 11-month-old today. So
wow,
yeah, it's really a lot going on, but it's awesome, and that's what the whole book, Point of Richness, talks about, is enjoying the things that are important in life and not trading our time for money. And so it's hard to say, because people look at me and say, yeah, but you're trading your time for money. But I love what I'm doing. So in that sense, it's not exactly trading my time for money. Eventually I won't do that, and I'll just focus on the family. But for now it works out being here in Germany and that. So
very cool. Well, let's talk about real estate, because that's again probably a big part of your journey and your story, and captured in the Point of Richness. So was that first 5 acres in Washington kind of the start, or what do you have? What's going on?
Yeah, so it actually started before that, but that was kind of where we were solid, right? We were on the ground where we could be financially responsible, in the sense of actually afford what we're doing. In 2014, I was single at the time, so I just had a girlfriend, and I was on my 40th birthday. I remember the exact date because it was my birthday. I was in a bar in Yuma, Arizona, by myself, having a beer, eating a pizza, and I was just thinking to myself, I'm $100,000 in debt. I'm divorced. I'm a major in the Marine Corps. Things are supposed to be, I think they're not supposed to be like they are right now. I certainly shouldn't be $100,000 in debt. How the heck did I get here? I'm alone, right? On my 40th birthday, I'm alone. And so I thought about it, and this is in my book. It captures this what happens. And I literally am thinking to myself at that point, when I was 20 years before that, when I was a young, recruit in the Marine Corps boot camp, there was a captain in the Marine Corps who taught a lesson on goals, and he taught a lesson on short-term, medium, and long-term goals, which you talk about in your book, and not the medium term, but the short and long-term goals. And I said, I've been really successful in the Marine Corps, despite my economic downfalls. I've been pretty darn good, in getting promoted and continuing my career. Maybe I should apply those same principles to my financial life.
Yeah.
And so I literally took out the napkin that was there and wrote down some goals and decided, okay, you know what? I've loved real estate for a long time and been very interested in it. I have an MBA, so I know I'm not, at least, I maybe not be the smartest man on the planet, but I'm not dumb.
Right.
I can do this. So I said, let's put together what I love as far as real estate and see if I can get us out of $100,000 in debt.
Yeah.
And that's literally how it started. And then
wow.
from there, I got married, not too much longer. My wife and I got married in Vegas, and it was awesome. We didn't get married by Elvis, like I tell people, but you know, but it's a good story.
Yeah.
And then we bought a place in North Carolina, and that was our first place that really turned into something where we learned, you know, that we can make this work.
Yeah. One thing I'd love to talk about more is, you know, lots of people have chosen without choosing, if that makes any sense, just to keep living in the rat race. And the rat race means you're a consumer. And as a consumer, you are constantly racking up more debt. If you were to step back and kind of acknowledge the 100K in debt you had on your 40th birthday, I mean, was it school loan, cars, credit cards? I mean, what were kind of the chunks, just the big chunks?
That's a great question, Mike. Thanks. So I mentioned that in the book too. It's like, I can't tell you what it was.
Oh,
that's the problem.
That's a problem. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I left home and I went to college for 1 year before I joined the Marine Corps. And even when I left college to join the Marine Corps, I already had credit card debt.
Oh,
but I told myself, hey, everybody has debt. I mean, at that time I was 19, a few $1,000s in debt, no big deal. And that's normal. Right. The problem is that it might be normal, but it's not good.
It's not good. Yeah, let's say that again. It might be normal, but it ain't good.
It ain't good. And so as time went on and just more and more things became like the thing that I had to have,
right?
As far as like instant gratification, and it might be little things, you know, it might've been buying a VHS back in the day for my kids, you know, at Walmart. It might've been anything, who knows? It just adds up.
Just adds up. Yeah.
And then when you get to that $100,000 and, you realize, okay, I can't look back and say, what did that $100,000 buy?
Yeah,
me?
exactly.
I can't name one thing.
Yeah, this is a problem, right? So first off, most folks are in that boat. And it starts really early, right? It starts at 18, you can sign for a credit card. And yeah, the credit card limit might be $2,000 or $2,500 or whatever it is, but it just starts. And by the time you're 40, you're in Yuma, Arizona, drinking a beer, eating pizza, you got $100,000 in debt. You don't know what it was. So I tell people all the time, one of the things I did after creating the course, How to Get Started One Rental at a Time, is I went back to basics with money. I call it Get Your Money Right. And it's about turning money into time. And people don't have a lot of discretionary income, right? I know lots of people that make $100,000. Then taxes, it's like 85 or 82. And then their house, their food, and pretty soon they got $1,000 left over. That's truly discretionary, folks. If you have $1,000 left over after making $100,000 and you work 2,000 hours, you make 50 cents an hour. That's what you make. You make 50 cents an hour. Your life, your decisions, your whatever consumes $99,000. It's not okay.
Amazing.
We got to stop it. You got to get your money right.
That's right. It's not okay.
So you recognize your $100,000 in debt. You make some goals on a napkin. You get after it, short, medium, long term. Do you remember what a couple of those goals were?
Sure. The short-term goal was that I wanted to buy a piece of property.
Okay.
I wanted to own a house.
Got it.
And I knew that I wanted to make it a rental property at some point.
Okay.
And so one of the things about being in the military is you move around every 2 to 3 years.
Yep.
And you also have the ability to use a VA loan.
Correct. And
so we were able to buy our place in North Carolina with a VA loan. And so by the time we left North Carolina 2-3 years later, we had spent zero of our own money to live in this house, basically, because they pay you to live in the house. It's
in a VA loan,
military gives you money.
Yeah, the VA loan, just so you know, it's zero down, correct?
That's correct. It was zero down, and at the time it was a 3% funding fee. So
cool.
You did have to put some money in, but you could roll that into the property. So you ended up still no cash.
Right.
You still came out ahead. And
then the military gives you a stipend, right? A stipend that pays for the house, basically.
That's right. And so they give you an amount at the time. I think it was probably around $1,700, maybe $1,500. I really don't remember exactly, but the loan was only, I think the mortgage was like $1,000. So the rest was pocket change. And then we live for free.
Live for free.
And then we
That's
rented
a
it
form
out.
of house hacking. It's house hacking on the government dollar.
It's house hacking on the government dollar. Absolutely. And
that's
and then
great.
we rented it out. So yeah, that's how it started.
Okay.
And then the goal was the rental. And then I knew that this was the way I was going to do it.
Right.
I hadn't read your book at the time. I think this was before your book came out, actually.
For sure. Yeah.
And but I had come up with the idea in my mind and said, this can work.
Absolutely.
I know we just need to make it work. And so we went forward.
Well, first off, I want to say, if you're in the military and you're watching this and you're moving around the country, duty stations, I would suggest doing the math. If you really can if you could house hack government money, you might as well get a VA loan and see if you can make it work. At least do the math, folks. Do the math.
That's right.
All right. So where do you go after North Carolina? Is that when you bounce to the West Coast, or what's next?
So I actually had a brain tumor, and that's what derailed everything for me as far as my career, which at the time, of course, and even today, I mean, nobody wants a brain tumor, and I had that removed.
That's not on anybody's bucket list.
No, it's certainly not. And it was a long recovery period. And so it put our investing on hold for quite some time.
Okay.
So there was a significant period of time between the North Carolina.
So what year is that?
That was in 2016.
Okay.
I had my brain surgery,
Sure.
and then my son was born 2 weeks before that.
Oh,
so
okay.
It was a busy year.
I
So for my wife, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, we have a newborn baby, and she's trying to raise the baby, our first, and then teach me to walk again. So it's like two of us trying to learn how to be babies again. But
wow,
it wasn't fun. But
strong woman.
Absolutely, she is really the base of all of this that's going on. So
that's awesome. Okay.
And then so I left, and I went from North Carolina. I went to another base called Camp Lejeune, where they have a treatment facility for brain injury called Intrepid Spirit. And then some organizations picked up some help, like Semper Society and A Hero, and they help pay for the bills that the government doesn't really pay for. So, which was great. It gave me about 2 years to fully recover.
Awesome.
And then I retired after 24 years. Then we moved out west, and that's when I bought the property. And
very cool.
And then when we bought the 5 acres, we realized, hey, we can put another house on this 5 acres. And
nice. Okay.
Property hack.
Yeah, there you go. Property hack. All right. So that 5 acres becomes, so it's your primary, and it becomes a rental as well, or a second unit.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So initially it was a primary. So we got it for a VA loan, another VA loan,
right?
Which you can do as long as you don't bust the cap on the VA amount, which we didn't.
Okay.
We did have to come out of pocket a little more than normal because of that, because we were using our VA loan on 2 places.
Okay.
But it turned out to be an incredible deal anyway. And so,
awesome. Yeah. And then I'm just curious, because I haven't built anything yet. I'm actually in the tail end of getting an ADU permitted. How did you fund the ADU, or the extra house? I call it an ADU, accessory dwelling unit, the second home. Was that a construction loan and all of that, or how'd that go down?
No, so actually we took, you mentioned it in your book. I call it a family loan, right? Or a family and friends loan.
Yes.
But we use the same method that you use in there, about the 10% principle kind of.
Yeah.
We offered to some family a 10% interest only return on the money we needed to buy the construction loan, basically. So
right. Okay.
And that's how we did it. So the
private financed.
Private finance, and they're happy. We're happy. Everybody wins. You know, the ships are all rising in that case. So
very cool.
Yeah.
All right. So then it sounds like at some point your wife wants to go spend some time in Germany. You apply, get a job in Germany, which you love. So I'm guessing that the primary in on the West Coast also becomes a rental. So you probably have at least 3 rentals in the US at this point.
That's right. So we have a total of 12 now. So
wow.
We're doing well. And so 2 of the new ones actually, so really is 10. So 2 of the new ones are property that we will be putting homes on. So we found a niche that we like that is a little different than people buying a home already.
Yeah.
The prices are just too much for most people to be able to buy in that area. There are people, I mean, I think the properties have gone up 30% in 2 years in a row.
Wow.
And it really is insane. And so what we found is we could buy bare land and we could put a manufactured home on and target
nice.
target the lower middle class. That they have a nice place to live. They have a nice property. It's their own.
Right.
We have one that's on a riverfront. We have one that has an ocean view. We have one that has a mountain view. So
Wow.
they're really nice places. And, you know, and we can get into this for $100,000 and put $110,000 unit on there, and it's worth over 300,000, and we can easily rent it for 1850. So, I mean, you can do the math. It's pretty quick to.
So I just want to make sure I caught that. So you're getting a lot for about $100,000, then you're putting a unit on it for $80,000. So you're in it 180, it's worth 300, and you rent it for 1850 kind of numbers.
That's right. So the first one was 80, but then because of the price of lumber and everything going up right now,
sure.
The last house we just purchased will be delivered in November, and it was 130. So
inflation is real
in just less than a year.
Yeah.
So it took a big chunk, but thankfully there's enough buffer built in that it's okay.
Very cool. So where are these? Because again, I know one is in North Carolina and a couple are in Washington, but where's your pile? Are they all in one place?
Yeah. So right now we are all in Washington State.
Okay. Washington State. Okay.
Yep. And then we also purchased a place here in Germany. And
wow.
So
okay, cool.
we decided to try out the German market.
Yeah.
And so far, I mean, you can't tell the future, but we bought a place here for 680. Okay. And it's worth 950 already. And it's been 2.5 years. I think.
Is that your own? Is that where you live and you're talking from now, or are you talking about a rental property?
So this is where we live now,
okay,
but
nice.
but it will be a rental property in the future.
Oh,
and so this is one of the things that I talk about too. Because the book that I wrote was not just for military, or it's for anyone who works in a job where they travel and where they're required to relocate.
Yeah.
So we relocated to Germany, and the government has a program where they provide, get this, $48,000 a year to buy a house.
Say that again.
The government provides $48,000 per year to buy a house.
Wow.
So we use that money,
I'm sure,
to buy this house. And when it's on a 10-year loan.
Okay.
And so we will stay for, I'm not sure how long, we're looking at maybe 2 more years. Okay. And then we'll rent it out. We probably, with that, because the mortgage is high, because it's only a 10-year loan, we will break even. Okay. Until 2027, but it will be a huge payout. And so it's kind of like an IRA in a way.
Right. Wow, that's amazing. That is awesome.
So
wow, that's pretty cool. So you had a lot going on in your life, and when did because everybody, I don't know how to say this. Lots of people talk about writing a book, and like they talk about, I have a story to tell and I want to inspire people. But very, very few people actually take the time to put pen to paper, right? Lots of people talk over coffee or lunch or drinks, but never do anything. So you've done the hard work. It's on the cusp of being ready, right? I think you're in editing phase. What was it that kicked you in the ass to actually put pen to paper? Because that's a big deal.
It really is. And so I run ultra marathons.
Okay.
And one of the things that I do when I run is listen to podcasts like yours, and or webcasts. I'm not really sure the vernacular for this, what it is we're doing, but I listen to them when I run. And so as I'm listening over a couple of years, and I'm running through the mountains and enjoying my time and feeling the euphoria that you get from the natural high.
Sure.
It's always like, I can do that. I can write a book. I can, no problem. And then you come down afterwards, and then you put it on the shelf and you think, okay, I'm not going to do that. But I'd always talk to my wife about it, and I'd be like, hey, hon, I really should write a book. And so we thought that originally 2 years ago that the book would be kind of about my profession, about what I do for my day job, since that's my master's is in that. It's all about international security studies, et cetera. But it's not my passion, right?
Right.
And so
it's what you do. It's not your passion.
It's what I do. It's not who I am.
There you go.
And so finally, I think in November of last year, I told her, I said, I think we need to write a book about what we've done with real estate, because I just love it. And she knows it. And she's like, you do. Because she'd been encouraging me all along, saying, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. You need to write a book. And I thought, yeah, okay, well, it's easy to say. But
yeah, exactly. It's easy to say.
And so I said in December, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to set a New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
Like everybody talks about, New Year's resolutions, and they don't last, but I did it. I said, I'm going to do this. And I set myself a goal that I would write a chapter every 2 weeks. Now, it turned out that I couldn't keep up with that. But what it did is at least gave me, I realized I can't do a chapter every 2 weeks, but it kept me going.
Right.
And it just, it became a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Really
writing a book is a process. It's, it is definitely a process. So when did the title come to you? Because I think that title, Point of Richness, is pretty powerful. When did that come to you? Right. Like, did you have it day one, or was it like when you got to the end?
No, it was somewhere in the middle. That's a great question, because the very original title was Military to Millionaire, which, as you probably know, there's already a book or a guy out there who does Military to Millionaire. David Pierre or Perry, I think. I'm not sure. I'm sorry, David, if you're listening, but I don't know how to say your last name. But so I'm writing this book, and I'm thinking it's going to be Military to Millionaire because, I thought I was going to be a millionaire by the time I was 35. Every kid tells himself, I'll be a millionaire.
Instead, you had a negative net worth at 40.
So exactly. And so it wasn't until much later. But anyway, I thought that was going to be the deal. And I realized that it wasn't about the money. And I wasn't writing the book about the money. So the million didn't matter, because it's about the point where someone realizes that they have enough money in life, which is a tool to use to focus on the things that matter, not trade time for money,
right? And
to be able to do what you want when you want, despite all of the other things you have going in life that cost money. Right. And so for some people, it could be 100,000. For some people, it could be $1 million. For some, maybe it's 100 million. I'm not here to say what it is for you.
Absolutely.
But I found mine. And so I wanted to say this, I found the point of richness. And richness isn't money. Richness is life. And so that's where the book gets into.
That's pretty amazing. And one of the things that's obviously in your story is you had this health scare, right? And 2-year recovery, which I'm sure wasn't fun. That's got to put some focus on what's important, I'm guessing.
Absolutely. Yeah, it completely does. The career, I thought that I was going to be career driven as far as all the way to the end. I thought, hey, I'm doing great. I'm going to be a colonel someday. This is the way it's going. I got promoted to lieutenant colonel, got selected for a command, doing all the right things. And then bam, brain tumor. I might die. The doctors the doctors are saying, you got 50-50 chance, buddy. Okay. And I look around, I got a pregnant wife.
How old are you at this point?
So at that point, I was 42. So yeah, I was
42 years old. One day you're frankly running the rat race.
Yeah.
Hard.
In the military, though, different. But in the military.
It's still a rat race. Still got a bunch of debt, still buying shit, still trying to, climb the corporate ladder or whatever it's called in military speak. And bam. How do you do?
Yeah. It took a long time. First I had to focus on recovering.
Yeah. And again, that's what I'm trying to make people realize, right? It's not only the day you get the news, right? You look at the little wavy picture online, which I'm sure they showed you and says, that's not supposed to be there. We're going to have to go get that thing. We're going to crack open your skull.
Something like that.
No, I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to have fun, but
it's like that. I went to the doctor in September. And because something wasn't going right, I just felt wrong.
Yeah, I knew something was up. Vision was up.
It was. Vision was off, and I still have vision problems. But I went to the doctor, and I didn't hear back. So Christmas time, my older kids, who are adults now, come to visit me, and they're like, "Hey, Papa, how did that thing turn out with your head?" And I was like, no news is good news. It's, no news is good news. They didn't call me, so all good. And my middle daughter, she says to me, "Papa, you need to go back and go ask them, because this is serious. You're still having problems." So I was like, okay, I promised her I'd go to the doctor. I went back. I went to the nursing station, and I looked down at her and I said, "Hey, I'm Jeremy Thompson. I just need you to let me know what the results were, whatever." So she's like, tick, 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 and she looks up. She looks up and she goes, and then she looks up again and she goes, "Nobody called you?" That's not what you want to hear when you
let me get a doctor. Whoops.
So the doctor immediately called me back. They didn't obviously make me wait for an appointment. And she's like, yeah, I don't know how you got, we mixed it up and not called you, but you have a brain tumor. It literally was like that. And so I was like, okay, well, what does that mean? She's like, well, I'm not sure. We need to get you a consult. Yeah. And so I went to Duke Medicine and had an awesome doctor, but. Yeah.
So, okay. So you get the note again, this is where life pivots. And I just wish I wish this on no one, right? You never wish this on anyone.
Yeah, of course.
But it does get things in perspective. What's important.
It did.
Also, I mean, I'm just thinking about this, right? That's got to be a day. That's got to be a wake up call. Then there's, a week or 10 days of trying to figure out how bad it is. Then the day you lay down on a gurney and they take you in and they knock you out, then you're like, okay, I woke up. Okay, I woke up good. But now you've got a 2-year road of learning how to walk and speak and feed yourself and all that stuff again. Can't be fun. I'm guessing, and you physically had to learn things, but was your mind sharp? Like you could remember walking, you could remember, like you remembered being a major, right? So your mind was 42, but your body was 6 or whatever kind of thing.
Yeah. It was like that. And it was frustrating because,
sure. Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, looking down at like a document, for example, or a puzzle, because they had me work puzzles to try to get my coordination up. Yeah. So it's just trying to trace a line, for example, and trying to get your hand to move in the right direction. It was insane. So you no longer are thinking big picture stuff like, what is my future going to look like? Or am I buying property in the future? No, it's literally about, how do I draw a line on a piece of paper?
I'm going to lift my left hand or my right hand and I'm going to go.
Exactly. And my wife told me, she told me later after I healed, she didn't tell me at the time, but she said she was really worried because she thought, we'd only been married for 3 years at this point. And she thought, she's younger than me, and she thought, I married a man who now is, and I'm going to be with him, but I married a man who now is like a stroke patient.
Right.
Who was yesterday was vibrant, athletic, and now is a stroke patient. She told me that later, and so that hit really, really hard when that happened. And so again, you focus on the family and focus on what's really important. And so my process to get through that was, how are we going to do this? I don't have an education beyond what I've been doing with the military and international security. And I know I don't want to do that anymore.
Right.
I know I love real estate. And so I just said, okay, once I healed, this is what we're going to dive into.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So the title of the book is going to be The Point of Richness, a guide to financial freedom, personal richness through real estate. Why don't you tell the audience as we wrap this up, really what the point of richness means to you as you kind of put that out there, because that's a powerful title.
Yeah, thank you. So the point of richness is a point in time when you as an individual realize as in you gain sufficient income where you no longer have to worry about the things that cost money, medical insurance, health, dental insurance, rent, you name it, doesn't matter. Where you literally have sufficient passive income that you can focus on your family, whether it's your wife, children, mother, whatever it is, because those are the most important things in life. The last thing that I noted when I got to the end of my book was in the last chapter, was when you want to help somebody more than you want to spend money on yourself, you have gotten to the point of richness. And my wife and I, we are really enjoying being able to help other people. And this resonated to me in your book, where you want to help people, like whether it's training or education and continue to give back.
Yeah.
You've reached that point. And some people do it early in life and some in the middle of our lives. And I think you and I are pretty close to the same age. And so you realized yours a little sooner than me. Yeah. And I realized mine a little later, but it's about finding that point. And when you do, it's powerful.
Yeah. Well, a couple of things. First and foremost, I want to thank you for your service. Both my parents were in the military. My dad was a Marine. My mother was in the Navy. So thank you for your service.
Hoorah. Thanks, Mike.
Hoorah. Yeah, exactly. Semper Fi. Second, I look forward to getting my autographed copy once it is published.
You know it. And I can't wait to make a poster just like yours and put it behind me.
There you go. And then lastly, let's get people excited. Let's put a little pressure on yourself. Do you think this will be out by, let's say, Halloween?
So I spoke with a publishing coach yesterday, and I can get it out that early. However, to give it the editing, professional editing that I need, and to go not compete with Christmas, we're thinking New Year's resolution, January 1st might be a good day.
Okay. All right.
So I'm not sure. I'm willing to consider other options.
I would tell you to get it out somewhere between Thanksgiving or Halloween and Thanksgiving, because I think there's a lot of military families out there that would make this a Christmas present.
Okay. How about I do this right now? I'll put it on the table between Halloween and Christmas. I'm going to do it, and it's going to be thanks to you, but I'll get it out there.
All right, Jeremy. Well, this video is going up today at 6 o'clock Pacific. So you're going to have, there's a lot of military folks that watch my channel. They're going to watch this video and they're going to reply because they want this book. I know they do. So between Halloween and Christmas, and it will be a stocking stuffer. That much I guarantee you. Thanks, Jeremy.
Well, I'm going to do it. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you for having me.
Yep.